Welcome to Absolute Trust Talk with your host, Kirsten and Howe. Absolute Trust Talk brings you tips, tools, advice, and interviews to help you build a reliable knowledge base on estate planning, business, and finance to start preparing for your future today.
Hello, and welcome to Absolute Trust Talk. This is our video podcast here at Absolute Trust Counsel. I'm Kirsten Howe. I am joined here by my associate attorney, Jessica Colbert, and we are here to do one of our favorite things on Absolute Trust Talk. Well, one of my favorite things. We're going to do a little bit of celebrity gossiping about celebrity estate plans, celebrity estate administrations. We're going to go back to one of our favorite cases that we've been following for a couple of years now, the O.J. Simpson case. And this is coming up now because just last week, a lawsuit was filed by O.J.'s executor against one of O.J.'s children. And Jessica, tell us a little bit about this lawsuit.
This lawsuit has to do with O.J.'s Las Vegas home. And the executor is claiming that O.J.'s son, his name is Justin, may have somehow persuaded O.J. to either take title of the home in the name of an entity, an LLC in this case, or transfer this title in a way that makes it so that Justin owns 100% of the home.
Right. And so all this stuff that if anybody out there from O.J.'s estate or Justin's family is listening, this is all pure speculation. We're just basing this on what we have heard, not making any accusations. But Justin apparently, according to the lawsuit, is the 100% owner of an entity that owns the home that O.J. was living in when he died. And so the executor is saying, whatever that home equity is, that's money that needs to come back into this probate estate. O.J. put up the down payment, O.J. made the mortgage payments, and it has increased in value since it was purchased. So that money needs to come back into the probate estate. That's the basis of the allegation.
Yeah, and the executor has a job to do. The reason that he's trying to make sure that whatever he's saying O.J. owned of this house, whatever he's entitled to, needs to come back into the estate is because part of the executor's job is what we call marshaling the assets. It's getting all the assets into the estate to be handled during the administration. The executor gets the assets into the estate, and then the judge decides what happens to them, how it gets distributed. But before anything goes to, any children, any beneficiaries, creditors come first. And we know O.J. had a lot of creditors.
That's right. He owed well over $100 million at the time of his death to the Goldman family. They got a civil judgment against him for killing their son, Ron Goldman. And that debt just kept growing over the years because O.J. never paid it. So that was his biggest creditor. And the executor's job is to pull money back in order to make sure it goes to whoever gets it. That's not the executor's job. That's the judge's job. As Jessica said, creditors actually don't come first. The attorney comes first. The executor, the attorney, the expenses of administration get paid. And then what's ever left goes to the creditors. And if there's anything left, that's when the beneficiaries get their share.
That's right. So let's talk about this LLC and why that might have seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, well, first I gotta talk about something else called Homestead. So I don't know if every state has this, but California has it, Nevada has it, a lot of states have it. It's a law that says a creditor cannot take your home away from you. There's what's called a Homestead Exemption amount, and it varies by state. And so that amount of home equity is protected from creditors. In Nevada, that number is $605,000. So we know from what we read about this lawsuit that there was a mortgage on the property. So O.J., even if O.J. owned it, he didn't have 100% home equity. So it's possible that the $605,000 Homestead exemption would have protected whatever O.J. actually owned. So, say the house is worth $1 million, but O.J. had a $400,000 mortgage. That 605 exemption covers the whole equity that O.J. owned. So it's possible that he didn't need this LLC for that reason, because his homestead exemption would have protected him from creditors. However,
it wouldn't have protected him from all creditors. And we are specifically talking about the IRS here. We know that you never, ever want to have the IRS on your back. You don't want to owe them money. And that's because the IRS is what's called a super creditor. And that means that the IRS can still get paid even when other creditors like the Goldman family wouldn't be able to. The IRS gets priority.
Right. So this formation of the LLC might have seemed like the only way that this home could be OJ's, but not open to the IRS taking it away from him. If this entity was properly managed like a separate entity, not just OJ's personal asset, and if it wasn't set up for a fraudulent purpose, it might have worked to protect the home equity from the IRS. Those are two big ifs in this case. We don't know the answer to those questions. And there are some sort of not great facts pointing to maybe Justin did take advantage of OJ. Jessica, what do you think about that?
Yeah. And again, we're just gossiping. We're just speculating here. But Justin is allegedly, he's now living in the house and he's refusing to give the money back to the executor, which if this is something that Justin and OJ had, worked out, planned to do, it doesn't really make sense that he would now be refusing to give it back to the estate.
Yeah, I guess that's true, because if the goal would have been possibly to protect OJ while he was alive from the IRS, but now that he's gone, the IRS can get their money, and what difference does it make? It's not helping OJ anymore. And if what Justin did was for that purpose, you'd think that he would give the money back to the estate. I don't know, maybe not. But the other thing that is kind of bad, if he was trying to do that, if he was just trying to protect it from the IRS so that OJ didn't have to worry about the IRS, he could have made OJ at least an owner of the LLC. He didn't have to make himself the 100% owner of the LLC.
Yeah, but it's possible that OJ knew that he was doing it this way, making Justin a 100% owner so that when OJ died, the house would then belong to his family and not go back to the IRS.
Oh, yeah. That's another way of looking at it. And so we're not going to know until we know. And I'm sure there are 7 other ways of looking at it. There's a whole lot of other things that we didn't even think of. It's an interesting case. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. Maybe with this public attention on it, Justin will decide this is not a battle worth fighting. I'm just going to here, take it. I don't want it. I don't know. We'll see. And if anything surfaces in the next weeks or months, you're going to be able to hear about it here on Absolute Trust Talk.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. I hope if you didn't learn anything, at least you enjoyed it. And we look forward to connecting with you next time.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Absolute Trust Talk Live. If you enjoyed listening in, then don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may listen by searching Absolute Trust Talk. While you're there, we would also love for you to leave us a review. And then why not share your favorite episodes with family, friends, or colleagues too? You can find all of our shows and corresponding show notes by visiting absolutetrustcouncil.com. You'll also find a variety of other free resources, including our ebooks, videos, blogs, presentations, and more. If you need help with your estate planning or administration, we also offer a free discovery call to help get the process started. You can find more information on booking your session by visiting absolutetrustcouncil.com/scheduling. If you join us for the broadcast, you can submit questions during the show. But if not, don't worry. You can always get in touch with us by sending a quick message to info@absolutetrustcouncil.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you soon.
This podcast is not meant to take the place of legal advice from an attorney and does not create an attorney-client relationship. If you do have a legal question or issue, please consult with an attorney.